The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, I'm Carl Seidel, host of The People's View. The show is sponsored by the Nashua City Republican Committee, and if you like to attend our meetings, they're the second Thursday of every month at 6:30 at the Crown Plaza. And if you want to find out more about our organization, you can go to nashuagop.org to see our website and learn about the events that we have.
Welcome to The People's View.
Hello, and help me welcome Sean McGuiness, who is now currently the alderman in Ward 1 and is running for a repeat.
A repeat, a re-election. I like the job.
You like the job?
Yeah. So thank you, Carl, for having me. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. You've had a year behind you now, and
Yes.
Do you have some special ideas about another year, or what you'd be doing?
Well, I don't necessarily have an agenda
Uh-huh.
to speak of. It's interesting to listen to what's going on in the current race between the mayors. There's a lot of vision there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of lofty.
There might be two different styles depending on who gets elected.
It sounds like it. It sounds like style.
Yeah, is the whole thing.
You know, I mean, essentially, we all want the best for the city, and some of these ideas of bringing business in, increasing the tax base, and all the issues are, Jim and Chris are, in my opinion, are pretty much on the same
level
policy path.
Oh yeah.
It's just a difference of style, I think. That's my thoughts.
Well, what do you think? What would you like to see done in the city? Any different from the current mayor? Or?
Well, I like Donna Lee in many respects. I like her as a person. I mean, there's certainly things that I didn't agree with, but other things I did. So I think she had a particularly interesting leadership style. She's a very strong woman, which you need that in an executive officer, and I did respect that. What I noticed in my first term is, as alderman, was she doesn't really like aldermen going to the department heads. And not having a lot of history there.
Well, she was in the military. She likes the chain of command, right?
She likes a nice, narrow chain of command. And I understand why she likes that, but I've come to know that in the past, it was a lot easier for aldermen to approach on different issues, constituent issues, or just getting information was a lot easier. And I think that both Chris and Jim are promising that transparency that used to be there. I don't fault Donna Lee too much. I mean, because she likes to keep a tight ship. But we would have all liked to have a little more access to department heads.
What committee were you on?
For?
In the alderman.
I think I'm on, 5.
5 committees?
Well, I'm on infrastructure.
Yeah.
Planning and economic development. Excuse me, I have a little laryngitis from last weekend. Human affairs, they asked me to do that. Pennachuck Special Water. And
so you kept you busy, huh? Main Street too.
What's that?
Main Street too. You said something about Main Street.
No. Human affairs.
Yeah. Okay.
And personnel administration.
Oh, okay.
Which is, and I'm on the planning board. Hey, they're all fun jobs.
You must love it, yeah.
But it gets a little busy. I think last week I was there 4 nights in a row, right up to 10 o'clock. So that makes for a long day sometimes.
It does. Yeah, I guess it does. You got to take care of your health, sir.
But I like it. I'm interested and excited to go. But after a long day at work, I get a little tired.
Which one do you like the most? I mean, which one do you...
Of the committees?
Yeah.
Well, I do like infrastructure.
Infrastructure?
And I enjoy being on the planning board.
Okay. Well,
Infrastructure is probably the busiest committee.
really?
Yeah.
What does that entail exactly?
Well, any bills that might have to do with, well, it's kind of broad actually. You would deal with city streets, public works, wastewater, buying, acquisition of property, disposition of property. All that gets funneled into the infrastructure committee. We get a little in planning and economic development.
In planning and economic development, how much do you work with the regional planning and development people?
I don't personally have a lot of contact, but Dan Moriarty, who's Alderman at large, chairs that committee. And he's been very active, and he just attended that recent meeting, I think it was a week ago. And he came back and reported to all of us how that went. A lot of people did not like the pipeline. There was a lot of vocal
pipeline
testimony from the public against that. But he brought back some interesting information, and he's been very active in trying to get people to come in, getting ideas, presentations.
Because I know the regional committee has a broader scope to look at.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Especially in transportation and stuff.
Yes, it does. And as busy, I would love to maybe attend one or two of those, but as you just said, I'm kind of a pretty busy guy.
You run out of days in a week.
I have no time. I didn't even get to go fishing this year. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I end up in October. I said, gee, never went fly fishing once this summer.
It's going to be a little cold to go fishing now.
Well, too late now. So, but yeah, planning and economic development. I'm very pleased with Dan. He runs a good committee there. We don't get a lot of heavy legislation, but we're trying to help with some of the
well, you're going
initiatives.
to looking for development. We're talking. I know we have a 10-year road plan, so I imagine to see somebody up there promoting the southern exit. Pheasant Lane or Route 101 or something like that, or maybe even the circumferential highway in Hudson. Because they want to put another bridge, on the north side, which should relieve some of that traffic.
And I don't know how the funding of that. I should be studying that a little closer, but
well, the
that's
joke
more of a
is
state.
that you have a 10-year plan with 5 years of money.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they come up with. They are looking at different federal money coming
Federal
in,
funds,
and how they handle some of the borrowing, because right now they do borrow against future federal money.
Yes.
So
They borrow.
so that's a little bit more expensive that way, but it gets it done sooner when you need it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things in this town. Well, what do you think about the railroad effort?
Well, rail has been an issue, a topic of discussion for many, many years.
Yeah.
I think maybe even 30 years. Going back to when I was young, in my 20s. What do I think about it? I think it's a fine idea. I mean, everyone, it's romantic.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it, but, it's got to work. I would never want to see the city of Nashua on the hook if it didn't work. Some say, well, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
I hope that's true, but we don't know that, do we?
No, we don't. And that's, I believe, is probably the attitude of 90% of the New Hampshire people.
Right.
Okay.
And everyone, it's a dreamy idea, and it's very romantic to have that coming right up into the airport. And we all kind of like the idea of it, but it's got to make sense. So therein lies the
Well, that's
struggle.
why I talked a little bit about regional planning, because I think one of the things is that $4 million legislation that the governor sent to the
for the study.
For the study that they sent to the Capital Budget Committee, and that was really dead on arrival. The people north of Manchester don't care.
Well,
Thing.
of course they don't care. Well, they care less.
I think so. You have to convince people, at least even people maybe in neighboring areas of Nashua don't care to pay more in their state tax or whatever.
Well, right. It doesn't affect them directly.
Right. Well, then you have to show how it can affect them. And that's why I was talking about maybe the 10-year plan, looking at not only the exit and the rail, but maybe other feeders to the Nashua area, and maybe an east-west transportation center for buses all coming into Nashua down there, maybe near Pheasant Lane.
Right.
Or in that another area, maybe on the north side of town.
That would open things up a little more.
And
reach more people. They'd get interested.
And it make the
better support.
Yeah, and make the numbers that were generated by this study a little bit more believable. If you do it, the first, phase one should be up to Pheasant Lane. Now, if you get even, 80, 90% of what you projected, that might be good.
That might work.
Yeah, but
Again,
they're not
you got to
going
have strong numbers.
You're not going to get it, with a station in Nashua and another station up at the airport and then in the center of Manchester. That's not going to fly right away. It could fly once you show the first step being.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. That doesn't seem as workable. But
Well, that's what they should try to do is look at it in a little bit bigger. Make sure you get feeding, these big events that
yes,
you want to have.
right.
But
I would never want to see. I don't like the idea of the city being in a position where we would be subsidizing it with taxpayer.
well, it'd be subsidized somehow by the state. The state's
Well, the
going to have a
state.
big chunk.
Right.
Well, the state and the city and whoever else.
Well,
is
everybody I know.
I mean, when you start putting something like that together, you have to consider all the roads and the other stuff that goes along
Sure.
with it. That comes along. Somebody has to sort of have a concept of how this might look 25 years from now.
Right.
Because then you can start putting the pieces in to make it look that way.
Right.
But you have to convince the people around us that
And you
it's
have
an effort.
increase the
Yeah.
population that's directly affected.
Well, you increase also your base, your tax
that's
base.
basic.
You'll have more businesses coming in here if they can find transportations.
If they want to use the rail.
Well, not just the rail, but even the roadways that are coming into effect.
Right.
So that it's easy to get from one place to another. You don't want to have to go through downtown streets to get any place.
Especially at 5 o'clock in downtown Nashville.
And hopefully the
You don't wanna
trains
be-
don't dump coal in the way either. But there are other things too that we have to worry about,
me.
and everything costs money. And
Yeah.
right now we've got this drug problem, and that's costing a lot of money. I imagine. I understand our police department is down a few people.
Yeah, they are right now, but I
Yeah.
think they have the budget to fill up.
Yeah,
But-
they have the budget, but I hear it's harder to get them people now. At least Manchester has even more that they want.
Hard to get to
Yeah,
officers
yeah.
to. Yeah, that we talked about that a lot this year. And it's been suggested we do need some additional officers. Now, when you look at budget committee meetings and finance, we're all careful about keeping these budgets in line as a spending cap, but everyone agrees that maybe some more officers are needed, especially in light of this problem. You have, with the drug arrests and things like that, you're having officers going to court, and that bogs things down. And I don't know Chief Lavoie. He understands how he's using his human resources, and I think he's doing a good job. We'd like people on some more officers, maybe on the streets a little in downtown Nashua area. But certainly, combating, the drug situation is policing that is worthy of investment.
Well, it's an investment. It's you don't get any value out of them for 3 months or so. I understand it.
With the training and
Yeah, everything.
But I don't know. The heroin problem is really kind of puzzles me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we do have a lot of ways to help folks that are caught up in this drug thing. I don't know why it's so prolific now. You know,
It's
just a couple of years ago,
cheaper,
no one, heroin, what? Nashua, no.
Well, it's a stress thing too, and somebody was saying that it's not as you know, unsavory as it used to be
I
taking
mean, it's
heroin.
more socially tolerated.
I think
or-
so. That's what was suggested anyway.
Yeah.
By, you know, but that might be promoting marijuana. Then,
Well, yeah, there's that.
That's
you know.
that is something like
I mean,
that going on.
they're worlds apart in my mind, but you
Yeah.
know, once you soften your stance on
One.
marijuana, it implies that we should be softening on other drug issues. But you know, I think you know, in a larger sense, a kind of a drug culture. I mean, I'm noticing on the TV last night and lately, everything's a drug commercial.
Yeah.
You know, everything for all kinds of stuff.
Well, advertising, yeah, is supposed to
I
promote
just
those
think
things.
that's kind of interesting. You know, in years ago they banned cigarettes from
Yeah.
cigarette commercials on TV. Maybe they should ban drug commercials.
commercials.
You know, 'cause everybody just says, well,
Everybody
drugs are a
wants
way
to
of
feel
life
good.
now.
Yeah.
So I don't
Sometimes
know.
I agree with you. You don't want to take too many drugs
No, I mean,
of any
well,
kind. I
I'm sure
mean,
there's
you
specialty
take-
drugs people
minimize
have
it.
to take, but
No, if it's not drugs, it's vitamins and natural herbs or whatever.
I'm kind of just a natural guy. Just a cup of coffee in the morning is just fine with me. You know?
Take your caffeine that way.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah, the kids have these power drinks now.
Well, what about the program that was developing the image of Nashua? Do you think that should be restarted, or is that something, or is that just an
Well,
advertiser's dream?
I'm not a marketing expert. I'm not sure I was really turned on with the, you know, that whole program. I loved the Gate City,
Mm-hmm.
you know, rather than what's the current logo and.
Well, how would you?
I just don't know how well that really works.
Okay. Well,
But
was it more attractive for downtown, or was it just a place to live in, or what was the real
well, I think it was
objective?
orientated to downtown to a
Well, I
great
think
degree. I
most
mean, the
people
chamber
thought that,
liked it very
yeah.
much.
Yeah, but is that the only thing you want to do, or do you want to promote that to make it like one of the mayoral candidates says, the city of the year or whatever it was that happened in the
Yeah, that was
90s?
back in the 90s. It happened twice, actually.
Yeah,
Jim Donchis, I think,
Yeah.
presided as mayor at that time.
right.
I remember that came out in, was it Inc. magazine or
Yeah,
was it?
it was
Yeah,
Inc.
and then
magazine.
it was.
I remember
We
seeing
got it
that,
again 3
yeah.
years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that kind of promotion, I think, was good. I think a lot of people
Did it bring
moved to
companies?
Nashua because I know I met a few back in the day.
I see.
Yeah, yeah. There's a guy from Texas. I wish I could remember his name. Oh, what brings you to Nashua? Oh, well, you guys are the best city in America. I said, you actually read that article? So,
Well, that's
but
the way I thought when I moved back. I lived in Massachusetts and went to Texas for 5 years and came back up here.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going back to Massachusetts again.
No, I know.
But that Nashua is pretty nice.
Yeah, but you know, I applaud the effort there. We spent some money on it that I'm not sure was really useful money
It
spent.
seemed to sort of just peter out, and then nobody's even talking
Yeah,
about it
nobody's talking
until
about
it
it
comes up to the mayoralty election.
Well, that's why I always kind of wondered in some of those meetings
Yeah.
in the winter of, not last winter, the first winter of my term, you know, I just don't get it. You know?
Well,
Not to take
apparently-
away from anyone that might be listening that really thought it was a good idea, you know.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll
I'm
see.
sure that depending on which mayor, which person gets elected mayor, we'll see. We'll see it, or it'll disappear completely, or something like
Well,
that.
they both proposed to, project Nashua into
How you do it, though, is
How you
very
do it.
important, I think. And, you want to attract everybody, not just people to live here. You want to attract companies and businesses
Well, I
that
think
contribute to the tax base.
exactly. I think that's primary.
Yeah.
Get some businesses in here,
Uh-huh.
and small, medium-sized businesses. I mean, well, even local businesses. A startup company with 8, 10 employees. We want that here.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause those grow into bigger companies. They flower.
Yeah.
They expand. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how, we got to really think about ways to attract them.
You have any ideas in
I don't know. I always
initiatives?
think, well,
I know you said you're not a marketing person, but you know how people get attracted
I
to
don't
some
know
of
what
these things.
concessions we might offer through the city.
Uh-huh.
The administration usually can work some things like that. I'm not necessarily a big fan of tax breaks, but
Yeah.
if you could use some incentives like that, might be a good idea. Otherwise, what makes us different?
What about our education here in the city? It's the population and school kids has gone down, but the budget's gone up
Well, I know.
percentage-wise. And
I know.
what's going to happen with that?
And, I think that we've had to make some cuts, or the Board of Education has.
Well, they're going to get rid of
And
their
that-
janitors.
Well, the janitors,
I don't know
I
how
would
much they're
hope a
going to
lot
save
of
for
those
that.
janitors, if this does go private,
Yeah.
that the private company will pick up all the.
Well, it'd be nice, but
That's where you can't.
they
know
might not
that,
get the
but-
same salary and benefits.
I've heard a lot about the janitors. They've been around a long time. They know the kids. They're trusted. They're reliable. And I don't like to see losing that. But, the BOE is making a decision here. And the other thing here is the decision is something they had to do to get
Oh, yeah.
the union to talk. So it was a mechanical thing as well. But we'll see about that. Cutting the budget, downsizing the staff, concentrating classrooms. Well, teachers' unions don't like that too much.
No.
But do we really need fully staffed? I don't know. I think
don't
the
know.
teachers
Somebody's
do a
gotta
wonderful
come in.
job. I don't want to see anybody
Yeah.
lose their
Yeah.
job.
Do we have too much overhead?
Too much overhead. And I wish, as busy as I am, I ought to go to some of those BOE meetings. I've seen them on TV when I have time. But I'd like to understand that budget a little deeper than I understand it now. Of course, they're independent on how they
yeah.
spend that money.
Yeah.
We, the Board of Aldermen, approve the budget, but
Well, we may have. I'm not sure what to expect with the new with the people running as write-in candidates now over the
yeah, that's
5
interesting,
people
isn't it?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
let's see if they're one-issue group or what. I mean.
Yeah, single-issue candidates.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason they're doing it is that
Yeah.
they're going to vote for the janitors to get be continued as the service.
Yeah, and I don't know whether there's a real expectation that they might win a seat that way, or is it just to promote the issue,
I think it's
And
a
make
little
the
bit
issue-
of both.
make the
with
issue
hope.
visible and raise it to the level of citywide discussion. I'm not sure what the motives are there.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's if the Board of Education people put enough out in publicizing the budget and the detail that people should know about.
Yeah, I guess in order to get the details, you got to go chase it.
Yeah.
It's not voluntarily.
Well, they don't bother explaining
presented
why.
to the citizenry.
Yeah, why the budget goes up when the population goes down.
Yeah,
I mean,
it should be
it's,
explained.
A little, yeah.
Now there are, cost of living increases, and things get more expensive as time goes on, inflation,
Well,
things like that. But
besides the cost of living, they get step increases, which
yes, they do.
and that's where you get hit with another whack. Every X number of years, you get another
Yeah,
couple of $1,000s on your wages
yeah,
just because you're there.
right. Just because you're there. So
I don't know. I hope we have a good group of teachers there, but it seems like they have to be able to comply with this spending cap.
They do, and that's something that I will always stay firm on, the spending cap. And I think they're going to have to compromise. I mean, the unions,
Well, the contracts.
I think that the public wants to see that, actually.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think the majority of the constituency in Nashua, most people would like to see some progress there.
Yeah.
And that the unions relent on some of,
There are a lot of people that were working that weren't getting anything for a year or two.
I know.
So, anyway.
When you look at the greater marketplace, not
right.
everybody is getting these raises.
Yeah.
But in the public sector, they're automatic.
And the
A
benefit
little bit.
packages are a little bit good, too.
They got wonderful benefit packages.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
I mean,
people out there working hard for a living, they don't have that.
my pension doesn't go up with the cost of living.
No.
I'm retired, but...
Oh, you are retired now. Well, I'm not quite there yet, but...
well, it wasn't my savings plan.
Yeah, right.
But I don't get those automatic things.
No.
And I happen to work for a good company, so I do have a good medical.
Yeah.
You
do good. And I now, employed again. I ran my own business for a while, and that was hard.
Yeah.
Paying my own insurance, $2,000 a month.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
When you run your own business, you're always the last one to be paid.
Yeah.
If there's anything left over, you get it.
Yeah.
So when I look at some of these very nice deals that some in the public sector have, I'm like,
Well, that's what held up the state budget, too.
Yeah.
And they weren't really as open with that negotiation as they should have been.
No.
If they didn't hide everything as much as they did until the very end,
Yeah.
we had enough money to give it to them, but they're not going to get it the next time.
Well, that's what we say, but then...
We'll see. Well, Sean, we're running to the end of the
Oh, we are? Boy, that
period.
went fast. I would have loved to chat. Well, you and I chat a lot anyway, so...
That's right, but being my ward alderman...
I hope you'll consider voting for me, Carl.
I'll even put a sign up for you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, I would like the job again. You and I served together and as representatives, and
Right, 2000.
and I tell you, that was one of the best jobs I ever had in my life for $100 a year.
Yeah,
I really loved it.
Plus mileage.
We got mileage and we got free tolls.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but the alderman job, I came in and I, was very careful to learn, be respectful of everything, and I like it. I'm a little bit seasoned now. I'm not the freshman anymore, and I said,
So your experience, you think you can do better this year, and you'll.
Oh well,
you'll come out.
absolutely, and
Very good.
I like it very much. So.
Well, good luck, and if anybody can help Sean,
Well, yeah.
yeah, just give him a call. The information's on the tape.
Oh, good, it is.
And
yeah.
what we're going to do is also invite the audience to come to the Republican Committee's monthly meeting at the Crown Plaza, the second Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock in the amphitheater in the Crown Plaza. Please come. We have interesting speakers at this time with all the presidential nominee hopefuls. They'll be at our meeting. So thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you, Carl. Always a pleasure.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.